not close to a residence. You know, even out on Concord Street, they still have to go for it, and that's industrial area.
The question that came to mind is, you know, on these cell towers especially, right? You have multiple vendors that might have a license. The Swan Pond cell tower, they falls into that category. So there could be 2 air conditioning, or 3 air conditioning units. Is this focused on an individual?
You know, they're doing the whole,
They have to do a pre-existing ambient noise study of everything, all the apparatus.
No, I'm getting at is, you have, let's say you have 3 parties, 3 separate entities running cell towers. And you go and you measure the noise, right, of this air conditioning unit for 1A,
yeah,
right? And it meets the 30 dB requirement.
they would, but, okay, but.
No, but if it did,
Okay,
but there's 2 others adjacent to it,
and they wouldn't.
they wouldn't. So what I'm trying to understand, is this a cumulative noise, or?
No, it's not it isn't last minute, they look at it, individually and together, I believe.
They look at it cumulative, it encompasses all.
Well, you know, I guess what I'm trying to get to is, let's say the air conditioner is 20 dB.
Right,
And now there's 4 companies with air conditioners, they're all 20 dB.
yeah, that doesn't mean they would be 60 dB at the line. They don't add quite like that.
I think in answer to your question, I think the point is that when they do the noise study and it gets sent out to our independent engineer, that the study takes into account all of the carriers and all of their equipment. So.
Well, I know they don't add this logarithmic, but.
Right, right.
So does it look at its maximum capacity for the, or does
That's what I'm
it?
trying to understand.
Well, that's the way it reads.
Yeah.
That's the way it
Yeah.
reads.
Yes.
It talks about the ground-mounted equipment. That
Yes.
means more than one, all the wireless services in that facility, and up to the property line. They measure it at the property line. So whatever's running, they're gonna measure the sound coming out.
So regardless
That's
of
the way I read
1, 2, or 3, or 4, it
Yeah,
can't
they don't-
exceed, if this
they-
passes, it can't exceed the 50 dBs.
Right, right.
So
Oh, yeah,
that would restrict, for example, if we're at 30 dB,
The number of carriers.
the number of carriers.
Well, yeah.
if
I
they
mean,
needed
you
air
have-
conditioning.
In some of these properties, you have no carriers, because the air conditioner is just too loud. The air conditioner here would be too loud.
Right. So is it grandfathered? Would those that are already in place? No.
Anything, actually, any zoning change under 48(6), it would be grandfathered under any zoning change. So the existing carriers would be grandfathered. But it really almost doesn't matter because, almost every single, the last 4 or 5 decisions we've issued, every single one of them for a carrier has already had to obtain a variance. from the
Yeah, already got
Board of
it.
Appeals. Just because.
Okay, so they have to go get a variance.
They
It's
get
not
a
like they're
variance.
totally.
They've been giving the variance.
And they give the variance because this was based on the model state bylaw of 1996.
This is one of those changes that we're making to keep from giving a variance out every time we have a cell company come in for a new facility.
Now, let's grant them some sort of noise.
Pardon?
You're gonna grant them some sort of noise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta acknowledge there's gonna be some noise.
It has to be kept cool,
Mhm.
you know, and as time goes on, those units get better, actually.
Sure.
They do get better, and they try to keep them up to date, because it costs them less money. They wanna have the best in there for maintenance.
Anybody here with questions regarding Article 18? The board has previously voted to recommend. Move on, the CPC is going to present this article, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Article 19.
I got the lean, I guess that's me.
Yeah.
What this zoning bylaw does is, currently most of the land for development that we're seeing, has slopes that are pre-existing that are steeper than 3 to 1. They're typically 2 to 1 or 1 to 1. And what other surrounding communities have, specifically North Andover, Andover, and with maybe Reading, is they have this lot slope protection bylaw in there. That doesn't necessarily prevent growth or development of any, land that is steeper than 3 to 1, but but it does require a special permit. And in order to obtain that special permit, you have to have a geotechnical engineer submit a report, complete an analysis of making sure that when the slopes are touched, that there'll be proper mitigation in place, like dew matting or other measures to make sure that the slopes aren't gonna fall, which has actually been happening in communities that don't have slope bylaws.
That, and you also mitigate some of the water runoff, natural conditions, slows it down.
The board hasn't made a recommendation as of yet. We were gonna make a recommendation at town meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that have any questions regarding Article 19? Board members, are we prepared to make a recommendation or vote on the recommendation this evening?
Just, again, what are the specifics that this is going to,
Specifically, if you have any land on a new lot or a proposed subdivision that is steeper than 3:1, you have to identify it. And if you want to disturb it, you have to get a special permit from the CPC. In order to get the special permit from the CPC, you have to submit the report from the geotechnical engineer. And then you have to also, pay for inspection funds from our independent engineer to be here on site to make sure that the proper mitigation is completed when they disturb the site.
sounds like these are the types of lots that are gonna be developed, right? Because most everything else is,
We don't have
we don't have a lot of other,
flat level
yeah, we don't have a lot of flat levels, dry stuff anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, no,
It's either wet or hilly.
sounds like a good idea.
3-to-1 refers to what?
The slope.
For every 1 foot of elevation. it
3
goes back
feet.
3 feet,
Okay.
which is actually a walkable slope. So a foreign one would be 4 feet back, 1 foot up, and that's gentler slope, so the water and the slope doesn't slide as quickly.
The purpose of this, is it to prevent runoff? Is that the primary purpose of this, and soil erosion?
Yes.
Soil erosion, runoff. Because if you leave the slope in its natural state, little hills, some rocks, the trees, it slows the runoff. You cut it all down, and you make it nice and angular, the water runs quickly.
That's why a lot, these kinds of lots are terraced. and many things.
Retaining walls, you got all kind of things, and we wanna get some handle on that, keep them safe, to make sure they're done properly. And, you know, we don't add stuff to them that shouldn't be there, creates those problems.
But are you looking to have them spread it out, or do they have to put a retaining wall?
Well, that would be up to the geotechnical engineer.
Okay.
They're gonna have to come back with a report to us, to tell us what they wanna do, and how they wanna do it. And then we'll have it reviewed to see if it's technically feasible, with our independent engineer, and we go from there. So, you know, I may say yes on some things, maybe no on some others.
And they don't protect the greens?
Probably not. Probably not. But they did take away, you know, for water runoff, they've constructed all kind of new flat areas. Even if it's grass, it's flat, and they took away trees.
Probably seen less lots in that subdivision though, to an extent.
Yes, we probably would have seen less lots in that subdivision.
Mr. Vino, did you raise your hand?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Secretary Joseph Vino, 11 Rock Street. Just a question on this, and hadn't even caught my eye, that's not why I came here. But would this only be for new developments, or would this affect a homeowner who presently owns and he's gonna do some work in his yard? I mean,
It would affect anyone with a brand new building lot as of the date of this adoption. So if you were coming in, I mean, I'm trying to think of what you get it, what would trigger a building. It would have to trigger a building permit. So in other words, like if you have a pool or accessory structure, that's not gonna be encompassed by this bylaw. It's only if you have a brand new building lot, with like a new home that you wanna build on it.
So if you
So
subdivide,
your lot's safe.
So, yes,
Well,
so
that's
if you
fine.
came in.
Right.
Not gonna do
But
it.
if you had 2 acres,
and you're gonna subdivide, and you're gonna.
the
okay,
new lot
A new lot.
Okay.
would be
Okay,
subject
but
to.
somebody with what they have now,
That's
if
correct.
they had to do some work, they wouldn't have to go this way.
No.
That's correct.
Okay, that was only a curiosity.
We wouldn't wanna see that many
That's a good
people.
question.
Excuse me, just quickly, what about an addition? If somebody puts an addition out?
Is it an existing house at this time?
Well, it's an addition, yes.
then they're covered.
So-
They will not have to come, because it's existing, and it's attaching to that house.
What if it's a
not a new lot.
detached garage? What if it's detached? You're putting another structure on your property?
Anything, if you're an existing lot, so like it doesn't matter really what you have in the property, so to speak, it's a matter of whether or not you're an existing lot. So likely, like everybody else in town, well, maybe not necessarily, because our records don't go back quite that far, but you already have an existing lot, so you're protected. Because at one point, when you bought your home, you had a plot plan when your real estate transaction was completed. So typically, what's gonna happen is when people come in for building permits, the only time it's gonna even really be looked at is what I call a subdivision plan, or what we call like an A&R plan. Like if you had 3 acres of land, you wanted to divide it into 2, then that's gonna trigger us to look at it.
Anybody else?
Move to recommend.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary,
Second.
recommend, second by Mr. Yule. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. It's unanimous. Article 20. Signs.
We're just tweaking it a little bit and clarifying, some of the, signs that are already prohibited, like,
Snipe.
snipe signs. Signs you get on the telephone poles and on fences and, wherever people wanna stick a sign. It's clarifying what those are, where they go, or where they shouldn't go. Right now, like, we were going to revisit the whole bylaw, but we got too many things on our plate. So we had to take something off, and this is one of those things.
So you might be passing this one over?
No. For this small language change.
Minor
we-
change.
We just changed the language, but we're gonna look at revamping the whole sign bylaw
In the future.
in the future.
Mr. Bino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is what I came for. Curiosity more than anything else. I was gonna ask you, what is a snipe sign? No, I don't.
If you got a car wash, if you gotta have a yard sale,
Yeah,
those are snipe signs.
okay, so they'll no longer be able to put those up.
They're prohibited anyway, under the existing zoning bylaw. Can I have that?
Sure.
I apologize. Under the existing bylaw, they're prohibited, and they say all signs mounted on or applied to trees, utility poles, rocks, or town-owned property. So they're usually sort of those 8.5 by 11 pages you see people kind of, I don't know if they staple them, or how they get them
Well,
on.
whatever.
Yeah,
So there's no,
so
I'm sorry.
they're currently prohibited, and then we just expanded that to also include that you can't put it on town, property, rocks, lands, fire hydrants, bridges, things like that.
So what will happen if this passes? Because they're still gonna put them up, so I mean,
Well, I think
yeah.
I think it sends more of a message to make sure that the bylaw is enforced. I think that was the whole reason why the issue, we can try to clarify that better, but I think what's happened is, we've received a lot of complaints about those signs being put up and left there, and I think, unfortunately, we don't really have a big, zoning enforcement office to deal with those types of complaints, so I don't think they're able to keep up with the number of complaints.
Well, the thought comes to me is come spring and you have the yard sale signs and they stick them on the poles, right? I don't believe enforcement is almost impossible because, we can't have our police department running around chasing down who put the sign up and knocking on doors,
So
you know.
if I may, Mr. Chair, this leads me into my next question, is it gonna be enforced, and if it is, by who?
It's
I
currently,
mean, let's be honest, it's not being enforced now, and so who's gonna enforce it just because it's been put into the bylaw? Well,
I
I
know
guess
what
I'm
you
just
mean.
trying to be clear, what's gonna happen? Is the
Are we
village-
expecting our building inspectors to go out on Saturdays and Sundays and visit, 15 Mead Road, yard sale today, and come knock on my door to see what I have for sale, and say, by the way, you're gonna be fined $50 if you don't take the signs down?
Take your signs out
You
at the end of the day.
know, all the